So, I am here with virtuoso guitar magician Stu Garry. Been a friend of Stu's for a number of years and a great admirer of his work. And it's brilliant through our Sputnik patron scheme to be able to help support his new project. So I thought I'd catch up with him and introduce you guys to him and also his new project. So Stu, great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. Thanks for taking the time to interview me and for helping me out with it for the new project.
Absolute pleasure, mate, as always. Well, could you introduce yourself to those who maybe have not had the pleasure yet?
Sure. I'm Stewart Garry, born and raised in Newcastle, and been moving further south since the age of 18. Ended up in Cambridge now. I am married, got a 1-year-old daughter, born in lockdown, which is she's great. So,
love it.
And I'm working at a church in Cambridge as one of the assistant pastors, and playing music on the side as well.
So, dad, church leader, musician, everything. So this conversation is going to be multifaceted. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I came across you at the time where you were making Sojourner with Chris Donald and others as well. A very unique project. Could you give us a just quick insight into that and the way you did it, and maybe why you made the decisions you did on that project?
Yeah, sure, love to. So often when you see virtuoso guitarists or acoustic guitarists, you see them on YouTube in a room with not much happening, just them and a guitar, and that's fine and everything, and it's cool to see what their hands are doing and everything. But in talking with Chris, we really wanted to sort of expand that idea out a bit and put me in the situations where that actually influenced the music, so people would have a little bit of the extra story. So we went to loads of different locations around the UK, so like a really old church in Cornwall, which I love to go to with friends, and recorded in that church and had that reverb and that story surrounding it, and be able to tell a little bit of why I wrote that song. And then we went to Coventry, where I did a lot of sort of musical growing up, as it were, and played in one of the local venues I used to play in quite a lot, and all the way up to Newcastle, and then to a whiskey distillery in Scotland, which was great, just being surrounded by all the whiskey casks and everything. But telling a story as it was going along. So each song has a story behind it, has a theme behind it, and the place matters as well as the story. So you got the story, you got the place visually, and you got the music that went along with it. So we wanted to really capture all of that, because instrumental music obviously doesn't have words. So whatever you can do to sort of get that across is helpful.
Yeah.
So it was quite, it was an amazing project to do and really fun.
Yeah, an amazing project to experience it as well. We'll put links in the chat for this for those who haven't come across it, but please check it out. It's fantastic. I mean, obviously we're in a strange time at the moment, Stu, and maybe coming out of a strange time. Hopefully, coming out of a strange time. How have you experienced the whole lockdown pandemic experience as an artist?
Yeah, it's actually enabled me to write a bit more. I think church life can take over, family life can take over a bit. But with being in lockdown, there was a lot more times of just sitting with my guitar, and so it's been a few years since Sojourner and writing that, and so to sit down with a guitar and just see what came out during that time was really great. I had the added sort of influence of new daughters and that sort of influence on my playing, and so there's some of that coming through, but it's also been difficult as well. You know, you're writing new stuff. The place that you want to experiment more than in the room is in front of people, because so before we recorded Sojourner and things like that, I'd gigged it for about a year. And during gigs, sometimes your hands just do something that you weren't quite expecting. You're like, oh, that was really cool, so maybe I'll put that in instead, or whatever. And you're sort of messing with it on stage and seeing people's reactions and feeling where to push and pull with dynamics a bit more and things like that. So there hasn't been any of that. which has been more difficult as a musician writing. But thankful for the opportunity, this sort of a forced opportunity, if you will, to sit down with the guitar. And I know that's different for different artists, different musicians as well. But,
yeah. Well, for you, as you mentioned, not just COVID, but during the last year and a half, you've had your first child. How's that affected you and your artistic process?
I have to play at very different times of the day now. I used to maybe play late at night, and that would be a good place for me to work out new stuff. But sort of playing in the gaps between naps for her, so I don't wake her up. It was interesting to try and be like, I've got half an hour. Let's just grab a guitar and see what I can do, and in half an hour, and just take it a lot slower. But actually, that's made it more deliberate. And actually something that's been interesting over lockdown, and having first child, like Sojourner's almost moving towards avant-garde music at times. There's some weird chords and some weird influences, film music, that sort of thing that come into there. And while some of that is still in, it's a lot more melodic, the stuff that's coming out now. So the melody is rising above a lot more, which is just an interesting change in writing style. Not deliberate, but just what's coming out at the minute.
Been great chatting, Stu. Let's cut to the chase of the final question I've got is new album. Fantastic, great to hear. Great to be able to support that through the Sputnik patron scheme. Practical details of that. When is it going to be released? What are the themes? I mean, I don't know if you know all that stuff, but yeah, far away.
Well, yeah, as we were talking about balancing church and music life, it has pushed some of the recording back a little bit, but hopefully record before Christmas.
Great.
And then look to release in 2022. Sort of maybe Easter time would be a good time. Yeah, to aim for. The themes wise, it has a lot of, like I said, melody really is singing a lot more on this on this album, and it's a lot more relaxing. That's influenced in the sort of titles of A Moment of Solace and other titles along those lines, and then it has direct influence. So there's one song for my daughter called "She's Almost Here," written a month before she's born, and it's got that mix of excitement and yet tension, and how's this all going to go, and what's it going to be like? All those sort of feelings and emotions just before you're about to be a dad, sort of poured into that, and then. But then there are other things like there's a song called "Springtime," and it's where it was first lockdown, we were locked up, and yet outside beautiful sunshine and birds singing and all that sort of thing. So it's sort of like locked down but not locked up, as it were. And that sort of feeling. So there's just a lot of themes of different emotions explored during lockdown mainly. But there is one song coming in from a previous bit of recording. So for Sputnik, previously recorded a song called "Lullaby for Benji," written for my nephew, and so and that's going to come in as part of the album as well. Yeah, great. With it.
Well, I'm really fascinated to hear any art that's been created from this very strange time we're in, and particularly so for you, Stu. And it's great to be able to be involved. Really looking forward to hearing the fruits of your labour, mate. So brilliant to catch up. If you're watching, please, and you're an artist of faith, our Sputnik Patron Scheme supports different projects, grants at the moment of like from £100 to £500 to get your project over the line, I guess. And if you're listening and you think, I want to support Christians who are making good art, you know what, we could find a place to put your money. So check the website, and you can help fund artists like Stu as well. But Stu, wonderful to chat, and look forward to hearing from you soon. See you later.
Cheers, mate. See ya.